So now we're going to start with the universal reconciliator. The idea is to review a bit, since in the last two connects we've been talking about advanced reconciliations. So the idea is that advanced reconciliations enhance your experience in implementing use cases, as they will provide us with more options in the configuration part. For example, configuration is now done at the rule set level. This is because we have different types of reconciliations. It can be the reconciliation rule set or also compensation. These two are based precisely, for example, on the fact that in reconciliation rule set you can perform a grouping, transactional and grouping, transactional, the ones we already basically know, but that all of this you can carry out directly in a single reconciliation. And then we have what would be the compensated ones, which, in the case that you need to achieve that famous zero effect, for example, if you have sales and refunds in one column and you need to clean up that reconciliation, you can also do it within the same one and directly have everything in a single reconciliation without needing to perform multiple reconciliations to obtain that result. On the other hand, we also have what we call transaction segments, which are the specific groups that will be created in certain columns, and you can select these. Up to 25 segments can be selected from a resource, and then based on that we move into the rule set and start selecting those segments there through different rule set that we will be configuring. Now we'll move on to data analysis. The idea is that you can start seeing the results of your advanced reconciliations and perform any type of analysis directly in the module designed for that purpose. Ready? So you'll have a new group of visuals called Advanced Reconciliation Status, which will show you a summary of the status of each entry within that advanced reconciliation. As you know, you'll have reconciled entries, compensated entries, unreconciled entries, and adjusted entries. The goal is for this to provide you with a very general overview of the status on both side A and side B of that reconciliation. This way, you should be able to start managing your processes directly here. Additionally, advanced reconciliations can now be used in any of the individual visuals already available in data analysis, which are the four you see at the bottom: custom tables, pivot tables, charts, or individual KPIs. The aim is for you to build a dashboard that helps you see the results in a very straightforward way and provides a summary of how that advanced reconciliation is performing. And additionally, the idea is, or rather in the latest version we had, which is 0.17, we also have some improvements to pivot tables. Specifically, these improvements will apply both to the pivot tables you've already created up to now and to any pivot tables you create going forward. The main improvements we have are four things, and now you'll be able to filter the grouping criteria you use in stacks. When you configure your pivot table, any column you use as a grouping criterion in rows will allow you to filter that information, making it much easier to navigate. Plus, you'll retain the sorting options, so you can sort the table's information in ascending or descending order. The second improvement is that you'll be able to select the same column in the values section of the configuration. What this allows you to do is apply different operations to the same column. For example, if you have an amount column, you can select it twice, once with the sum operation and once with the absolute sum operation, and you'll be able to see both results. The third improvement we have is a new operation, also in the values section, called countdown. This operation will let you see the number of distinct values in that column. For instance, if you select a franchise column and apply this operation, and there are 4 different franchises in the data, it will show you the number of unique records the system finds. The final improvement is to make configuration much simpler. When you select a grouping criterion, whether in rows or columns, you'll be able to group date or date and time columns by days, weeks, or months. This makes it much easier to analyze the data and adapt it to your needs. So, as I was mentioning, when you go into the dashboard section in data analysis, the idea is that you can monitor your advanced reconciliations. This is a dashboard I created exclusively with one of the advanced reconciliations we have. The first thing we have is the Advanced Reconciliation Status visual group, which shows you a summary in terms of both values and records for both side A and side B of the reconciliation. It will show you how many records are reconciled on side A, how many are reconciled on side B. We also now have sections for compensated, unreconciled, and adjusted records. So, for all the statuses a transaction can have within an advanced reconciliation, the goal is for this to generate a summary and let you see how it's performing. This is the general summary of the reconciliation. Additionally, you'll be able to create individual KPIs where you perform a calculation and highlight a key figure that's important to you. You'll also be able to generate charts. Right now, we have 4 types of charts: bars, stacked bars, donuts, and line charts. You'll be able to configure them as needed with your advanced reconciliations, as well as use pivot tables and custom tables. The idea is that this gives you all the flexibility you need to manage your use case. I'll focus here on the pivot table to show you some of the specific improvements we have in these visuals. One thing you'll notice much more clearly now is which criteria you selected as column groupers. They'll now have a color that makes it easier to distinguish those values. Also, as I mentioned, you'll now have filters that let you, for example, filter the information from a specific column and see only those results. For instance, in this case with Argentina and Colombia, it resubmits the request and brings back the result. The goal is for this to help you navigate and make it much easier to manage your use cases. And, as I said, you'll also be able to maintain sorting options either ascending or descending. In this case, I have it set to descending, but I can also switch it to ascending so you can view your results. For the other improvements we have, we need to go to the configuration section to see them. So, what are these new configuration options you'll be able to use? When you select any date column, whether in rows or columns, you'll now see this selector that lets you choose whether you want to group by days, weeks, or months, allowing you to view the results however you need them. You'll also be able to select the same column, like an amount column, in the values section multiple times. For example, here I selected A amount twice with different operations. And the final improvement in this section is this new operation called Count Distinct, which counts the unique records you have in that column. Unlike Count, which counts every instance of a record, this only counts each unique record once. Those are the improvements we have, and I hope they help you manage your advanced reconciliations.